All right, I'm here today with Dr. Bevis, the owner of 100% Chiropractic, and we're just going to go over a few things. How are you doing today, Dr. Bevis?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good to see you. So just to start with, give us a little bit of your background. Before you started your own business, how did you decide you wanted to start a business? What was it that interested you about that?
Yeah, so I think the main thing that drew me to wanting to start my own small business was really at the end of the day wanting to work for myself. I think one of the things that always draws people into the field of entrepreneurship is that idea, the whole American dream, where you can get rewarded for really your own earning potential or your production rather than some 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job. And then really the freedom of scheduling, not having to ask off, those kind of obvious perks to it. But really, I would say it's those things, the hunger, the drive to build something myself and be rewarded for the work I put into it.
Absolutely, that's very understandable. So when you were going about it, I'm assuming there was some schooling involved. You graduated with a degree in chiropractics, and then what? Did you have some options as far as starting your own business, going to work for someone? How did you go about making that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a biology degree from Florida State, and then went to Life University in Marietta, got a doctorate in chiropractic. Towards the end of that, really the last year or so, we were required to do some internships, some work in the clinical field itself, and so really the exposure there to a couple of different forms of practice, one being small, private practice like I've entered, another being an associateship with some other doctors under the same clinic. Really the biggest thing there, aside from the entrepreneurship that we talked about just moments ago, was really just having the freedom to practice my way, to have the utmost confidence in the care that I know I can deliver, to not have to worry about anyone else's care being in anyone else's hands, right? In the healthcare field, there's obviously that part that's not really present in other industries, and so that was a big deciding factor there.
Okay, yeah, and so when you were vetting the different options, I'm sure you kind of were wrestling with it. About how long would you say that decision making process went between the time you graduated and the time you actually started your own business?
So I graduated chiropractic school in March of 2014, and so by about mid-April, late April, I was moving out to Colorado to work under another doc out there and do some training, at least on the back side of things, really taking what I knew and what I learned in the clinics and really starting to get the business side of things. Really through that process, through that month or so of April, I decided to make it more of a long-term thing, go the route of 100% chiropractic and kind of go from there.
So to kind of continue on with the 100% chiropractic, we discussed before our interview that 100% is a multi-owner LLC. Could you kind of elaborate a little bit on how that structure maybe benefits you?
Right. So 100% chiropractic was started by the Helfrichs, Dr. Jason and Vanessa Helfrich, and Vanessa is the daughter of Dr. Guy Riegman, who was the president at my chiropractic school. And so through those externships that I was speaking of a moment ago, I actually got to intern in a 100% chiropractic office in Austell, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And really it was my experience in there that kind of exposed me to this possibility of being able to pair with 100% chiropractic. Like you mentioned, it's a multi-member LLC, and what that means is basically I have silent partners who have helped pair other really silent investor groups and kind of walked me through the process, really helping to answer questions as far as finding the right location and setting up the LLC and doing those kinds of things. And so it was a way for me to really have a little help opening up a clinic in my hometown like I knew I wanted to.
And you just mentioned it. So your office is located in Tallahassee, and I'm assuming there was some thought process as to where you were actually going to establish, what side of town you would like. And so how did you go about kind of narrowing down which part of town you thought was best to start?
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Really, a starting point for pretty much any industry that you're going to be entering in, if you're going to be opening up a brick and mortar, a place, a physical location, one of the first things that you can really do in easiest ways is look for the main staple places like Starbucks, Chipotle. These bigger companies really have a lot more resources to do the research to find, where the traffic points are that have the most cars that come by. When it comes to discretionary income or average household incomes, and so really that's the really square one in any industry. I would advise anybody, take a look at what those bigger companies are doing, and that gives you a starting point right off the bat.
Perfect. And so, have you had any other experiences where you got to use other people's efforts, if you will, like you were saying, kind of scouting out a Starbucks or Chipotle? So when you're first starting out and grinding in that startup mode and trying to get going, did you have any like anecdotal stories for me about how you had a client management software or some luck meeting that maybe came down? Have you had any kind of strokes of luck along the way?
I'd say it takes a lot of those strokes of luck to really get you through those beginning stages, the grind stages for sure, the stages where you're wondering if the lights are going to be able to be on that next month. So I just think little timing things like that, it's really not really more so been a stroke of luck in meeting the right person or getting the right deal in the industry I'm in. It's just really more so about the right people needing us at the right time, us being able to take care of them, serve them, and that keeping the lights on. So several of those strokes of luck for sure.
So at 100%, what size staff do you guys have?
So it is myself and two front desk girls. They're both registered chiropractic assistant. One of them, my wife Lauren, who also works there, is the office manager and does a lot of the administrative duties there. And then we also have two independent contracted massage therapists. So those are really a different type of employee, but also really make up a very integral part of our staff. So 5 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that your wife helps manage the office. Do you find that it's beneficial having family members working with you? Do they understand the struggles a little better?
Yeah, I think especially being husband-wife, there's pros and cons to that. The pros being really no one is ever going to be as invested in that business as your significant other. You can be sure of that. Obviously it's hard. We're spending a lot more time than the majority of couples out there, but really we look at it as a positive in that light too. Really something that we can kind of fall back on and a strength that we can really garner that a lot of couples don't have. Really more than anything, it's them being invested and caring. It's not just them kind of punching the time clock and doing their duties and going. They're there for the right reasons, and you can be sure of that.
Absolutely. So as far as a marketing standpoint for your business, do you guys use the social media? Do you have a presence there? Do you do more physical stuff, work in events? What do you guys like to do as far as getting the message out?
So that I think also falls back on that grind mode that you have to start off with in any entrepreneurial really venture that you're setting out on. You really learn that you've got to be very diverse in your marketing approach. Certainly these days you have to be on all of the major forms of social media, Twitter, Facebooks, Instagrams, and really having a presence there on a daily, certainly a weekly, if not a daily basis. For us, it's a lot of network marketing. So really being in a smaller town like Tallahassee, network marketing and really face-to-face word-of-mouth marketing goes a long way. So a lot of that too.
Okay. So in your industry, are regulations an issue that arise for you that you have to deal with just a daily business?
Yeah, absolutely. There is, like I mentioned, having contracted massage therapists. There's certain regulations we have to meet for having that in-house. We do have a radiology unit, an x-ray machine in-house, which comes with other regulations on top of those that would be normal for any healthcare facility.
So I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to meet with me. Before I let you go, do you have any advice for that entrepreneur that's about to get out of school? Just one piece of information you wish you had 10 years ago.
I would just say work like hell. It's really going to come down to it. You have to really want it. You need to find something you're passionate about, because there's going to be long hours, there's going to be hard days, and you're really going to have something to come back on. But more than anything, there's no replacement for the hard work.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bevis, and we will see you soon.